Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, the waves crashing rhythmically against the shore. Despite their power, they flow effortlessly, guided by forces beyond your control. Now turn inward and consider the mind, a storm of worries, fears, and anxieties that often feel just as overwhelming. Buddhism teaches that this inner turbulence isn't inevitable. In fact, it whispers a profound truth. The moment you stop worrying is the moment life starts moving in your favor. When you release the chains of fear, surrender the illusion of control, and anchor yourself in the present moment, you unlock a life of peace, clarity, and boundless possibility. This journey begins with a simple yet revolutionary acknowledgement. Worry is a self-imposed prison. It traps us in a future that hasn't arrived, robbing us of today's beauty and our innate capacity for joy. Buddhism doesn't dismiss the challenges of life. Instead, it offers timeless wisdom to dismantle the mental habits that magnify suffering. Over the next pages, we'll explore 7 teachings that reveal how to break free from worry's grasp and align with the natural flow of existence. The first lesson challenges us to confront a startling reality. What you fear, you create. Far from being passive, fear is a force that shapes our thoughts, actions, and ultimately, our reality. When we obsess over losing a job, we may unconsciously sabotage our performance. Fear of rejection can drive us to push loved ones away. Buddhism compares the mind to a garden. What you plant in it grows. If you cultivate fear, suffering takes root. But by shifting your focus to calmness and trust, you nurture the soil for peace and abundance. Next, we'll reframe surrender, not as weakness, but as strength. In a world that equates power with control, Buddhism invites us to release our grip on outcomes. Surrender doesn't mean passivity, it means doing your part and trusting the universe's wisdom. Like water in an open hand, life flows more freely when we stop clinging. This lesson isn't about abandoning responsibility, but about recognizing that some things are beyond our control. And that's where freedom begins. Buddhism's third insight cuts to the heart of anxiety. It lives in the future, while peace resides in the now. When worry grips us, we're yanked from the present into a what-if world of imagined catastrophes. Yet, the only moment we truly inhabit is this one, this breath, this heartbeat. Mindfulness, the practice of returning to the present, becomes a lifeline. It teaches us to ask, is this real, or is it just my mind's story? Often, the answer is transformative. The fourth lesson delivers a humbling truth. Most of what we worry about never happens. Our minds are compulsive storytellers, spinning narratives that inflate risks and paralyze us with dread. By questioning these stories, we reclaim our energy. Instead of rehearsing disasters, we can redirect our focus to the beauty that exists right now, the warmth of the sun, the rhythm of our breath, the resilience of the human spirit. Lesson 5 reveals a paradox. Control and faith are incompatible. To cling tightly to outcomes is to declare, I don't trust life. Yet faith doesn't mean blind optimism. It means trusting that life has its own intelligence. Like tending a garden, we do our part, planting seeds, watering them, but we don't yank sprouts from the earth. Growth happens in its own time. Trusting this process isn't lazy, it's wise. The sixth teaching invites us to see worry as a prison that shrinks our potential. Fear makes us cautious, small, and disconnected from our true selves. But letting go doesn't mean carelessness. It means releasing what we cannot control. When we stop gripping, life expands, relationships deepen, creativity flourishes, and peace becomes accessible. Letting go isn't weakness. It's the courage to trust that we are enough. Finally, the seventh lesson challenges our need to interfere. Buddhism suggests that life often works better when we step back. Overthinking, micromanaging, and forcing solutions create resistance. Instead, we're invited to act wisely and then trust the flow. Like a river clearing obstacles, life moves smoothly when we release our mental baggage. This doesn't mean passivity, but partnership with existence, a dance of action and surrender. These teachings aren't abstract philosophies. They are practical tools for transformation. They invite us to shift from fear to trust, from control to alignment, and from worry to presence. The journey isn't about achieving perfection, but about finding freedom in each moment. As you explore these lessons, remember, you are not alone in this struggle. Every worry released, every act of surrender, and every return to the present is a step toward liberation. Let's begin. Lesson 1. What you fear, you create. Fear is often seen as a natural response to danger, a primal mechanism designed to protect us from harm. In the modern world, however, fear has taken on a different dimension. It has become a chronic state of mind, a background noise that shapes our thoughts, decisions, and actions in ways we may not even realize. Buddhism offers a profound insight into the nature of fear and its ripple effects on our reality. The mechanics of fear. When we fear something, we devote mental energy to it. We imagine scenarios, rehearse conversations, and anticipate negative outcomes. This mental energy is not passive. It actively influences our perception and behavior. For example, consider someone who fears public speaking. The mere thought of standing in front of an audience can trigger a cascade of anxious thoughts. What if I forget my words? What if they laugh at me? What if I embarrass myself? These thoughts are not just abstract worries, they have a tangible impact. The fear of public speaking can lead to physical symptoms like a racing heart, sweaty palms, and trembling hands. It can also influence behavior, causing the person to avoid opportunities to speak up, practice less, or even withdraw from social situations that might require them to speak in front of others. Over time, this avoidance reinforces the fear, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. The person may miss out on promotions, networking opportunities, or personal growth experiences, all because of a fear that began as a thought. This dynamic is not limited to public speaking. It applies to almost every area of life. Fear of failure can lead to procrastination and half-hearted efforts, virtually guaranteeing the very failure that was feared. Fear of rejection can make us withdrawn and distant in relationships, pushing others away. Fear of financial insecurity can lead to compulsive hoarding or unnecessary frugality, creating stress and tension in our lives. In each case, fear does not just predict outcomes, it actively shapes them. The mind as a garden. Buddhism uses the metaphor of the mind as a garden to illustrate this principle. Just as a garden grows whatever seeds are planted in it, the mind manifests whatever thoughts and emotions we nurture. If we plant seeds of fear, doubt, and anxiety, those are the crops that will grow. They will sprout as negative thoughts, blossom into destructive emotions, and bear the fruit of suffering. But the beauty of this metaphor is that it also offers a solution. Just as a gardener can choose to plant different seeds, we can choose to cultivate different thoughts in our minds. By consciously shifting our focus away from fear and toward positive, empowering thoughts, we can begin to transform our reality. Instead of planting seeds of worry about losing a job, we can plant seeds of gratitude for the opportunities we currently have. Instead of imagining rejection, we can visualize connection and understanding. This does not mean denying the reality of challenges or pretending that everything is always fine. It means recognizing that we have a choice in how we respond to those challenges. We can choose to feed fear, letting it grow and dominate our mental landscape, or we can choose to nurture peace, trust, and resilience. The neuroscience of fear. Modern science supports this Buddhist wisdom. Research in neuroscience has shown that the brain is highly plastic, meaning it can change and adapt. based on our experiences and thoughts. When we repeatedly focus on fear-based thoughts, we strengthen the neural pathways associated with anxiety and stress. This makes it easier for fear to arise in the future and harder for us to access calm and rational thinking. On the other hand, when we practice mindfulness and consciously direct our attention toward positive experiences, we can rewire our brains. Studies have shown that regular mindfulness meditation increases activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain associated with decision-making, focus, and emotional regulation. It also reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center. This means that by changing our thought patterns, we can literally change our brain's structure and function, making us less prone to fear and more capable of responding to life with clarity and composure. Practical steps to transform fear. Understanding the principle that what you fear, you create, is just the beginning. The real power lies in applying this understanding to our daily lives. Here are some practical steps to help you transform fear and begin creating a reality rooted in peace and trust. 1. Become aware of your thoughts. The first step in breaking the cycle of fear is to become aware of your thought patterns. Most of us spend much of our lives on autopilot, with our minds racing from one thought to the next without conscious attention. By practicing mindfulness, you can begin to observe your thoughts rather than being swept away by them. Try setting aside a few minutes each day for quiet reflection. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and simply watch your thoughts as they arise. When you notice a fear-based thought, acknowledge it without judgment, and then gently bring your attention back to your breath. This simple practice can help you develop greater awareness and control over your mental landscape. 2. Question your fears. Not all fears are created equal. Some fears are healthy and necessary, like the fear of touching a hot stove or walking through a dangerous neighborhood at night. These fears protect us from genuine harm. Other fears, however, are based on irrational beliefs or worst-case scenarios that are unlikely to come true. When you notice a fear arising, take a moment to question it. Ask yourself, is this fear based on a real immediate threat, or is it a product of my imagination? What evidence do I have to support this fear? What evidence do I have that contradicts this fear? What is the worst-case scenario, and how likely is it to happen? What is the best-case scenario, and how can I work toward it? By systematically examining your fears, you can separate the wheat from the chaff and respond to situations more wisely. 3. Reframe your narrative. The stories we tell ourselves about our lives have a powerful impact on our reality. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, that you're going to fail, or that the world is out to get you, your brain will accept these stories as truth and behave accordingly. Try reframing your narrative to focus on positive possibilities. Instead of thinking, I'm going to embarrass myself at the meeting, say, I have valuable contributions to make, and I will share them confidently. Instead of dwelling on past failures, focus on what you've learned and how you've grown. By changing the story you tell yourself, you can change how you feel and act. 4. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to fear. When we focus on what we're grateful for, we shift our attention away from what's wrong in our lives and toward what's right. This simple shift can transform our mental landscape and create a more positive outlook. Try keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small they may seem. They could be something as simple as a beautiful sunset, a delicious meal, or a kind word from a friend. Over time, this practice can train your brain to notice and appreciate the good in your life, making fear less dominant. 5. Take inspired action. Fear often thrives in the realm of the imagination, where we can spin endless scenarios of disaster. One of the most effective ways to counteract fear is to take action. By doing something concrete, even something small, we ground ourselves in reality and demonstrate to ourselves that we can handle whatever comes. If you're afraid of starting a new business, for example, take one small step toward your goal each day. Research your market, design a logo, or reach out to a potential mentor. Each action you take chips away at the mountain of fear and builds your confidence and momentum. 6. Cultivate trust. Ultimately, transforming fear requires cultivating a deeper sense of trust in yourself, in others, and in the natural unfolding of life. Trust does not mean naivety or passivity. It means recognizing that you are not alone in this journey and that you have within you the strength and wisdom to navigate whatever comes your way. One way to cultivate trust is through meditation and mindfulness practices. By regularly connecting with a sense of inner stillness and wisdom, you can develop a reservoir of trust that you can draw on in times of uncertainty. Another way is through acts of generosity and kindness. When we give to others, we create positive connections and remind ourselves of our interconnectedness. This can help dissolve the isolation that often accompanies fear and foster a sense of belonging and support. The ripple effect. The transformation of fear is not just a personal journey, it has far-reaching consequences. When we release fear and cultivate peace within ourselves, we radiate that energy outward, affecting everyone we encounter. Our calmer presence can help soothe the fears of others, creating a positive ripple effect in our communities and beyond. Imagine a world where fear-based decisions, wars, environmental destruction, social injustice, were replaced by choices rooted in trust, compassion, and collaboration. This is not a naive utopian vision, but a tangible possibility that begins with each individual's commitment to transforming their relationship with fear. Conclusion. The Buddhist teaching that what you fear you create is not meant to induce guilt or shame. It is a compassionate invitation to recognize the power we hold within us and to use it wisely. By becoming aware of our thoughts, questioning our fears, reframing our narratives, practicing gratitude, taking inspired action, and cultivating trust, we can begin to shift from a mindset of fear to one of peace and possibility. This journey is not always easy. There will be moments when fear resurfaces, as it does for everyone. But with patience, persistence, and self-compassion, we can gradually transform fear from a prison into a stepping stone to a life of greater freedom, joy, and connection. As you continue to explore this teaching, remember that you are not alone. Countless others throughout history have walked this path and found liberation from the chains of fear. Their wisdom and experience are here to guide you, and your own journey contributes to the collective awakening of humanity. Now take a deep breath. Feel the weight of fear begin to lift, even if just slightly, and step forward, one mindful step at a time, into the unknown yet promising terrain of a life less burdened by fear and more open to the possibilities that await. Lesson 2. Surrender is not weakness, it's power. In a world that equates strength with control and power with dominance, the idea of surrender often carries a negative connotation. We are taught from a young age that to surrender is to give up, to admit defeat, to become passive or lazy. But Buddhism offers a profound counter-narrative. Surrender is not weakness, it is one of the most powerful tools we have for finding peace, clarity, and freedom in our lives. The illusion of control. Human beings have an innate desire to control their environment. It's a survival mechanism that has served us well throughout history. By controlling our surroundings, we can predict outcomes, avoid danger, and increase our chances of survival. But this desire for control has also become a source of suffering. We try to control everything, from our daily schedules to our relationships, from our careers to our thoughts and emotions. We cling to the belief that if we can just manage every aspect of our lives, we will be safe, happy, and fulfilled. Yet, no matter how hard we try, life has a way of slipping through our fingers. Unexpected events occur, people disappoint us, and our best-laid plans often go awry. The truth is, much of life is beyond our control. We cannot control the actions of others, the economy, the weather, or even our own thoughts and emotions at times. Yet, we continue to struggle against this reality, wasting vast amounts of energy in a futile attempt to force life into a mold that fits our expectations. Buddhism recognizes this struggle and offers a different path. It teaches that true power does not come from trying to control everything, but from surrendering to the natural flow of life. What surrender really means? Surrender, in the Buddhist sense, is not about giving up or becoming passive. It is not about letting life walk all over you or failing to take action when action is needed. Surrender is about releasing the need to control things that are beyond your reach. It is about doing your best, taking wise and compassionate action, and then letting go of the outcome. Imagine holding water in your cupped hands. If you squeeze tightly, the water slips through your fingers and is lost. But if you hold your hands open and still, the water remains. This is the essence of surrender. When we cling too tightly to people, situations, or outcomes, we often end up losing what we value most. But when we hold them with an open hand, with a heart of trust and acceptance, we create space for life to unfold in unexpected and beautiful ways. The power of surrender. Surrender is not a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of profound strength. It requires courage to release our grip on life and trust in something greater than ourselves. It demands humility to acknowledge that we do not have all the answers and that life has its own wisdom and timing, and it takes wisdom to recognize what is within our control and what is not. When we practice surrender, we tap into a deeper source of power, a power that is not based on force or domination, but on alignment and harmony with life's natural flow. This power allows us to navigate challenges with greater ease, to find peace in uncertainty, and to discover new possibilities that we could never have imagined while clinging to control. How to practice surrender. Surrender is not a one-time event, but a continuous practice. It requires ongoing awareness and commitment. Here are some practical ways to incorporate surrender into your daily life. 1. Embrace the present moment. Much of our struggle for control stems from fear of the future or regret over the past. By bringing your attention to the present moment, you can break free from this cycle. Practice mindfulness meditation, engage fully in your daily activities, and savor each moment as it unfolds. When you are fully present, there is no need to control, for you are already at peace with what is. 2. Let go of expectations. Expectations are the enemy of surrender. They create a rigid framework of how we think life should be, and when reality deviates from this framework, we resist and struggle. Instead of holding on to rigid expectations, try to approach life with an open mind and heart. Allow things to unfold as they will, and be willing to adapt and respond to whatever comes your way. 3. Practice acceptance. Acceptance is not about resigning yourself to a situation you dislike. It is about acknowledging the reality of the present moment without judgment. When you accept what is, you create space for change and transformation. Resistance, on the other hand, only breeds more suffering. So when faced with a challenging situation, take a deep breath and say to yourself, I accept this as it is, and I am willing to work with it. 4. Trust in the process. Life has its own rhythm and timing. Just as a flower cannot be forced to bloom before its time, neither can we force our lives to unfold according to our timetable. Trust that even when things do not go as planned, there is a deeper wisdom at work. Have faith that every experience, whether good or bad, is contributing to your growth and evolution. 5. Release attachment to outcomes. We often become so attached to specific outcomes that we lose sight of the bigger picture. We cling to the belief that if things do not turn out exactly as we hoped, we will be unhappy or unsuccessful. But the truth is, we cannot control outcomes, no matter how hard we try. Focus instead on taking wise and compassionate action, and then release your attachment to the results. Trust that the universe will guide you toward what is best for you. 6. Cultivate gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to fear and resistance. When you focus on what you are grateful for, you shift your attention away from what is lacking or wrong in your life and toward what is abundant and good. This shift in perspective can help you feel more connected to the flow of life and more willing to surrender to its natural rhythm. 7. Seek support. Surrender does not mean that you have to face life's challenges alone. In fact, asking for help and seeking support from others is an important part of the surrender process. When we try to do everything on our own, we reinforce the illusion of control. But when we acknowledge our interconnectedness and lean on others for support, we open ourselves to the power of community and shared wisdom. The benefits of surrender. When we practice surrender, we open ourselves to a multitude of benefits: reduced stress and anxiety. Letting go of the need to control everything can significantly reduce stress and anxiety. When we stop fighting against life's natural flow, we create space for peace and calm to emerge. Greater resilience. Surrender helps us build resilience by teaching us to adapt to change and navigate uncertainty with grace. Instead of being shattered by setbacks, we learn to roll with the punches and find new paths forward. Deeper connections. When we release our need to control others, we create space for more authentic and meaningful relationships. We become more present and attentive to others, fostering deeper connections and understanding. Increased creativity. Surrender allows our creative energy to flow more freely. When we are not consumed by fear and resistance, we become more open to new ideas and possibilities. Spiritual growth. Perhaps most importantly, surrender is a gateway to spiritual growth and awakening. It helps us recognize our interconnectedness with all of life and cultivates a sense of trust and faith in the universe's wisdom. Overcoming the fear of surrender. Despite its benefits, surrender can be difficult to practice. It requires us to confront our deepest fears and insecurities and to let go of the illusions of control that have protected us for so long. Here are some common fears associated with surrender and how to work with them. Fear of the unknown. Surrender often means stepping into the unknown, which can be terrifying. Remind yourself that the unknown is not necessarily bad. In fact, it is often the source of new opportunities and growth. Fear of vulnerability. Letting go of control can make us feel vulnerable and exposed. But vulnerability is not weakness. It is a sign of courage and strength. It allows us to connect more deeply with ourselves and others. Fear of failure. We may fear that if we surrender, we will fail or miss out on something important. But failure is an inevitable part of life, and it is often our greatest teacher. Trust that even in failure, there is growth and opportunity. Fear of losing identity. Our sense of identity is often tied to our achievements and control over our lives. Surrender may feel like a threat to this identity, but true identity is not found in external accomplishments, but in our inner essence, which remains constant regardless of circumstances. Surrender in action. Real-life examples. To better understand how surrender can be applied in real life, let's consider a few examples. 1. Career transitions. Imagine you have been working in a job that no longer fulfills you. You know it's time for a change, but you are afraid to leave because of financial uncertainty. You try to plan every detail of your transition, but the more you try to control the outcome, the more anxious you become. Instead of forcing a specific plan, you practice surrender by updating your resume, networking, and exploring new opportunities while releasing your attachment to a particular outcome. You trust that the right opportunity will emerge at the right time. 2. Relationships. In relationships, we often try to control the other person's actions and emotions to avoid disappointment. But this control can suffocate the relationship and push the other person away. By surrendering to the natural flow of the relationship, you create space for authenticity and connection. You express your needs and desires while also allowing your partner the freedom to do the same. You trust that the relationship will evolve in a way that serves both of your highest good. 3. Health challenges. Facing a health challenge can be one of the most difficult experiences, as it often strips away our sense of control. Instead of resisting the diagnosis or becoming consumed by fear, you can practice surrender by seeking appropriate medical advice, following through with treatments, and releasing your attachment to specific outcomes. You focus on what you can control, your attitude, your self-care, and your willingness to heal, while trusting in the body's natural healing processes and the support of healthcare professionals. The paradox of surrender. One of the most fascinating aspects of surrender is its paradoxical nature. When we let go of our need to control, we often find that we gain more than we ever could through force alone. By surrendering, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life, allowing opportunities, insights, and connections to emerge that were previously hidden from view. Think of it like a river. When you try to fight against the current, you exhaust yourself and may even drown. But when you surrender to the current, allowing it to carry you forward, you can ride the flow and reach your destination with ease. Surrender is not about passivity, but about wisdom, knowing when to act and when to let go. Conclusion. Surrender is a transformative practice that invites us to release our need for control and align with the natural flow of life. It is not weakness, but a profound expression of strength, trust, and wisdom. By embracing surrender, we can reduce stress and anxiety, build resilience, deepen connections, enhance creativity, and experience spiritual growth. The journey of surrender is ongoing and requires patience and self-compassion. It is not about achieving a state of complete surrender once and for all, but about continuously releasing, trusting, and aligning with life's rhythm. As you practice surrender, you may find that life begins to work in your favor in ways you never imagined. Remember, you are not alone in this practice. Everyone who walks the path of surrender faces challenges and moments of doubt. But with each act of surrender, you join a timeless tradition of wisdom and courage, a tradition that recognizes that true power lies not in domination, but in harmony with the universe. So the next time you feel the weight of control pressing down on you, take a deep breath. Release your grip just a little. Trust that life, with all its uncertainty and beauty, is exactly as it should be. And in that release, discover the freedom and power that have always been yours. Lesson 3. Anxiety lives in the future. Peace lives in the now. In the fast-paced world we inhabit today, anxiety has become an all-too-common companion for many of us. It gnaws at our peace of mind, disrupts our sleep, and casts a shadow over even the most beautiful moments. But what if the source of this anxiety isn't actually the circumstances of our lives, but our relationship with time itself? Buddhism offers a profound insight. Anxiety thrives in the future, a realm of uncertainty and what-ifs, while peace resides firmly in the present moment. This lesson invites us to explore the nature of anxiety, the power of the now, and practical ways to anchor ourselves in the present, freeing ourselves from the grip of worry. The nature of anxiety. Anxiety is a fascinating phenomenon when examined closely. It rarely concerns itself with the present moment. Instead, it transports us mentally to some hypothetical future where things have gone wrong. We worry about losing our jobs, about conflicts with loved ones, about health scares, or about any number of potential disasters. The mind, in its attempt to prepare us for every eventuality, creates elaborate scenarios of doom, complete with vivid emotions and physical sensations. But here's the irony: most of what we worry about never actually happens. Studies suggest that a significant percentage of our worries are either exaggerated or entirely unfounded. We spend hours, days, even years fretting over outcomes that may never materialize. And even when they do, they're often not as bad as we'd imagined. Why does this happen? The answer lies in the mind's natural tendency to project forward. The human brain evolved to anticipate threats and plan for survival, which was crucial when our ancestors faced immediate physical dangers like predators or scarce resources. But in the modern world, where many of our threats are psychological or abstract, this mental time travel can become a liability. We're no longer running from saber-toothed cats, but our minds still react as if we are creating stress and anxiety that serve no practical purpose. The illusion of the future. One of the most liberating realizations we can have is that the future, as we conceive it, is an illusion. The future isn't a tangible place, it's a mental construct built from our memories, expectations, and fears. When we worry about the future, we're essentially telling ourselves stories that may have no basis in reality. These stories are powered by our imaginations, which are remarkably creative, but not always reliable. Think about it. When you're lost in anxiety, you're not experiencing an actual event. You're experiencing your mind's interpretation of a possibility. And possibilities, by definition, are not realities. The future is not fixed. It's a fluid tapestry woven from countless variables, many of which are beyond our control. To treat it as a concrete reality is to misunderstand the very nature of time itself, the present moment, the only reality. If the future is an illusion, then where does reality reside? Buddhism points us unequivocally to the present moment. Right here, right now, is the only time that truly exists. It's the only moment we can experience, the only moment we can act, and the only moment we can truly live. Consider this. No matter how much you worry about tomorrow, today is still here. The breath you're taking now is real. The sensations in your body, the sounds around you, the thoughts passing through your mind, these are all happening in the present. Even when we're thinking about the future, we're doing so in the now. The future is never experienced except as an idea in the present moment. When we bring our attention to the present, something remarkable happens. We discover that, more often than not, this moment is relatively peaceful. The future may be uncertain, but the now is manageable. The now is where we have power, where we can make choices, and where we can find clarity. Mindfulness, the practice of presence. So, how do we shift our focus from the anxious future to the peaceful now? The answer lies in mindfulness, a practice central to Buddhist teachings. Mindfulness is the art of paying deliberate attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about observing our thoughts, feelings, and sensations as they arise without getting swept away by them. Mindfulness can be cultivated through meditation, where we sit quietly and focus on our breath, our bodily sensations, or a mantra. When the mind wanders, which it will, we gently bring it back to the present. This simple act of returning strengthens our presence muscle, making it easier over time to stay anchored in the now. But mindfulness isn't just a formal practice. It can be woven into every aspect of daily life. We can eat mindfully, savoring each bite, and noticing the textures and flavors of our food. We can walk mindfully, feeling the ground beneath our feet and the rhythm of our steps. We can even wash dishes mindfully, paying attention to the warmth of the water and the feel of the soap. In doing so, we transform ordinary activities into gateways to presence. The science of mindfulness. Modern science has begun to catch up with what Buddhism has known for millennia. Mindfulness works. Studies have shown that regular mindfulness practice can reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression, lower blood pressure, improve sleep quality, and enhance overall well-being. Neuroscientific research reveals that mindfulness meditation can actually change the structure of the brain. It increases gray matter density in areas associated with learning, memory, and emotion regulation, while decreasing activity in the brain's default mode network, the part responsible for mind-wandering and self-referential processing. In other words, mindfulness helps quiet the part of the brain that's always worrying about me, myself, and I. Obstacles to presence and how to overcome them. Despite its benefits, cultivating presence isn't always easy. The mind, with its habitual patterns of worrying and planning, resists being anchored to the now. Here are some common obstacles and how to work with them. 1. The to-do mentality. We're often so focused on what we need to accomplish next that we can't fully engage with the present moment. We rush through tasks, thinking only of what comes after. To counteract this, try adopting a one-task-at-a-time approach. Give your full attention to whatever you're doing, whether it's working, eating, or even just sitting. Notice the difference in how you feel when you're fully immersed. 2. Judgment and criticism. When practicing mindfulness, the mind often judges itself for wandering or criticizes the experience as boring or unproductive. Remember that mindfulness isn't about achieving a particular state. It's about being present with whatever is happening, even if that includes a wandering mind. Gently acknowledge the judgment and return to the present without self-criticism. 3. The allure of distraction. In our digital age, distractions are everywhere. Notifications, social media, and the endless stream of information pull us away from the present moment. Create boundaries around your technology use, designate specific times for checking emails or social media, and try to keep certain spaces, like your bedroom or dining area, tech-free zones. This can create more opportunities for uninterrupted presence. 4. Physical restlessness. Sometimes anxiety manifests physically, making it hard to sit still or relax. If this happens during meditation, try incorporating mindful movement practices like yoga or Tai Chi. These practices combine physical movement with mindful awareness, helping to channel restlessness into presence. Daily practices for cultivating presence. Here are some simple yet powerful practices to help you cultivate presence in your daily life. 1. Morning mindfulness. Start your day with a few minutes of mindfulness meditation. Sit quietly, focus on your breath, and set an intention to be present throughout the day. You might also try a mindful morning routine, brushing your teeth slowly, noticing the taste of toothpaste, or taking a shower with full awareness of the water's temperature and sensation on your skin. 2. The pause. Throughout the day, take brief pauses to check in with yourself. Stop what you're doing, take a deep breath, and scan your body for tension or anxiety. Notice where your mind is. Has it wandered to the future? Gently bring it back to the present. These micro moments of mindfulness can accumulate, creating a stronger foundation for presence. 3. Mindful eating. Choose one meal or snack each day to eat mindfully. Turn off distractions like TV or your phone and focus solely on the experience of eating. Notice the colors, smells, and textures of your food. Chew slowly, savoring each bite. This practice can transform your relationship with food and cultivate greater presence. 4. Walking meditation. Take a walk outside and practice mindful walking. Feel the contact of your feet with the ground. Notice the rhythm of your steps. Observe the sights, sounds, and smells around you. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the experience of walking. This is a wonderful way to combine exercise with mindfulness. 5. Gratitude practice. Each evening, reflect on 3 things you're grateful for from the day. They can be as simple as a beautiful sunset, a kind word from a colleague, or a delicious meal. Writing them down in a journal can enhance the practice. Gratitude naturally brings us into the present moment and fosters a positive outlook. How presence transforms anxiety. When we cultivate presence through mindfulness, we begin to dismantle the power of anxiety in our lives. Here's how. 1. Breaking the cycle of worry. Anxiety feeds on rumination, the repetitive thinking about negative outcomes. By bringing our attention to the present moment, we interrupt this cycle. Each time we notice our minds wandering to the future and gently return to now, we're weakening the habit of worry. Second perspective. Taking presence allows us to see our thoughts for what they are, just thoughts, not facts. When we're grounded in the now, we can observe our anxious thoughts without immediately believing or acting on them. This creates space for clearer thinking and wiser responses. 3. Emotional regulation. Mindfulness strengthens our ability to regulate emotions. When anxiety arises, we can acknowledge it without becoming overwhelmed. Instead of getting swept away by the emotion, we can simply note, anxiety is present, and return to the breath or another anchor in the present moment. This prevents anxiety from spiraling out of control. 4. Building resilience. Regular practice of mindfulness builds emotional resilience. Over time, we become better equipped to handle life's inevitable challenges without defaulting to anxiety. We develop a trusted toolkit of responses to stress, rooted in presence and awareness. The ripple effect of presence. The benefits of cultivating presence extend far beyond our individual well-being. When we're present, we interact differently with the world and those around us. 1. Enhanced relationships. Presence is a gift we give to others. When we're fully present with someone, listening without judgment, engaging with curiosity, and responding from the heart, we create space for deeper connection. People feel seen and heard, which strengthens bonds and fosters trust. 2. Improved communication. Anxiety often leads to miscommunication, either through withdrawal or aggressive expression. Presence allows us to communicate more mindfully. We can pause before responding, choose our words intentionally, and listen with greater empathy. 3. Greater compassion. As we become more present with our own experiences, including our struggles, we develop self-compassion. This compassion naturally extends to others. We become more attuned to their suffering and more inclined to offer support, creating ripples of kindness in our communities. 4th, environmental awareness. When we're present, we're more aware of our surroundings and our impact on them. We notice the beauty of nature and become more mindful of our consumption habits. This heightened awareness can inspire us to live more sustainably and in harmony with the world around us. Common misconceptions about presence. Despite its benefits, some misconceptions about mindfulness and presence can create barriers to practice. 1. Mindfulness means clearing the mind. Many people believe that mindfulness requires completely emptying the mind of thoughts. This is a misconception. The goal of mindfulness isn't to stop thinking, but to become more aware of our thoughts without getting entangled in them. It's about changing our relationship with our minds, not controlling them. 2. Presence requires hours of meditation. While extended meditation can deepen practice, presence can be cultivated in just a few minutes a day. Even brief moments of mindful awareness add up over time. Consistency matters more than duration, especially for beginners. 3. Presence is escapism. Some worry that focusing on the present means avoiding important future planning. But mindfulness isn't about ignoring the future. It's about approaching it from a place of clarity and calm. When we're present, we can plan more effectively because we're not clouded by anxiety or distraction. 4. I'm too busy, stressed to practice. It's true that finding time to practice mindfulness can be challenging, especially during high-stress periods. But presence is most valuable precisely when we're stressed. Even a few deep breaths can make a difference. Think of it as a pause button for your nervous system, a quick reset that helps you return to challenges with renewed focus. Presence as a lifelong journey. Cultivating presence is not a one-time achievement, but a lifelong journey. It's about commitment to growth, patience with setbacks, and kindness toward yourself along the way. There will be days when anxiety feels overwhelming despite your best efforts, and that's okay. Each time you return to the present moment, you're reinforcing a new way of being, one that's rooted in peace rather than fear. Remember that presence isn't about perfection. It's about becoming more familiar with the present moment, with all its richness and complexity. It's about learning to rest in the now, even when the now isn't particularly pleasant. Because the now is where life happens, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Conclusion: stepping into the now. The journey from anxiety to peace begins with a simple shift in attention, a shift from the uncertain future to the certain present. Buddhism teaches that this shift isn't just a nice idea, it's a practical path to liberation. By understanding the nature of anxiety, recognizing the illusion of the future, and practicing mindfulness in daily life, we can free ourselves from the prison of worry and step into the fullness of life as it unfolds moment by moment. The present moment isn't just a concept, it's a living reality waiting to be experienced. It's the taste of your morning coffee, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sound of laughter shared with friends, and even the discomfort of difficult emotions. It's all of it, vibrant, immediate, and profoundly real. So, take a deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs, notice the sensations in your body, listen to the sounds around you. And remember, you're not missing out on anything by being here. In fact, you're exactly where you need to be. The peace you've been searching for isn't somewhere else, it's right here, right now, waiting for you to arrive. Lesson 4. Most of what you worry about never happens. In the quiet corners of our minds, a relentless storyteller spins tales of disaster, crafting narratives of failure, rejection, and loss that keep us awake at night and cast shadows over our days. This storyteller is worry, and its tales are often nothing more than illusions, vivid, persuasive, but ultimately unreal. Buddhism offers a gentle yet profound truth. Most of what we worry about never actually happens. This lesson invites us to examine the nature of worry, understand its roots, and discover how to free ourselves from its often baseless grip. The anatomy of worry. Worry is a mental habit that involves dwelling on potential negative outcomes. It's a form of mental time travel, projecting our fears into an imagined future. The mind, in its attempt to prepare us for danger, creates elaborate scenarios designed to keep us safe. But this well-intentioned mechanism often backfires, creating more suffering than it prevents. When we worry, several psychological patterns typically unfold. 1. The what-if spiral. Worry rarely settles on a single scenario. Instead, it launches a series of what-if questions that spiral into increasingly dire possibilities. What if I lose my job? Becomes, what if I can't pay my bills? Which escalates to, what if I become homeless? Each question feeds the next, creating a chain reaction of anxiety. 2. Catastrophizing. Our minds have a remarkable ability to take a small problem and amplify it into a catastrophe. A minor disagreement with a friend becomes a sign that the friendship is ending. A delayed email from a colleague is interpreted as evidence of impending job loss. This cognitive distortion, known as catastrophizing, transforms manageable challenges into seemingly insurmountable threats. 3. The illusion of certainty. Worry thrives on the illusion that we can predict the future. We act as though our imagined scenarios are inevitable, forgetting that the future is inherently uncertain. Youth is, we have no way of knowing what will happen tomorrow, next week, or next year. Our predictions are little more than educated guesses, often colored by our fears and insecurities. The neuroscience of worry. To understand why worry is such a persistent challenge, it helps to look at what's happening in the brain. When we worry, several regions of the brain become activated. 1. The amygdala. The amygdala, often referred to as the brain's fear center, plays a key role in the stress response. When we perceive a threat, whether real or imagined, the amygdala sends signals to other parts of the brain, triggering the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This fight-or-flight response was crucial for our ancestors' survival, but is less helpful when the threat is a mental projection of job loss or social rejection. 2. The prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for logical thinking and decision-making, becomes hyperactive during worry. It tries to solve the perceived problem by analyzing scenarios and generating solutions. But when the problem is imaginary, this analysis becomes circular and unproductive, creating a mental loop of anxiety. 3. The anterior cingulate cortex. This region, involved in emotion regulation and conflict monitoring, also becomes engaged during worry. It detects the conflict between our desired outcome and the feared scenario, amplifying our distress. Over time, chronic worry can strengthen the neural pathways associated with anxiety, making it easier for worry to arise in the future. The brain essentially becomes wired for worry, which is why breaking the cycle requires conscious effort and practice. The cost of worry. Worry exacts a significant toll on our well-being, affecting not only our mental health, but also our physical health and relationships. 1. Mental health. Chronic worry is a hallmark of generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, a condition characterized by excessive, uncontrollable worry about everyday matters. Even when worry doesn't reach clinical levels, it can diminish our quality of life, fostering a constant undercurrent of unease and preventing us from experiencing genuine peace and joy. 2. Physical health. The stress response triggered by worry has physical consequences. Over time, elevated cortisol levels can weaken the immune system, increase blood pressure, and contribute to conditions like insomnia, digestive issues, and even heart disease. 3. Relationships. Worry can strain our relationships in several ways. We might become preoccupied and less present with loved ones, or we might project our fears onto them, creating tension and misunderstandings. For example, worrying about a partner's love for us might lead to clingy behavior or excessive questioning, pushing them away. 4. Missed opportunities. Worry often paralyzes us, preventing us from taking risks or pursuing meaningful goals. We might avoid applying for a dream job because we fear rejection, or we might decline social invitations due to anxiety about fitting in. Over time, this can lead to a life filled with what-ifs and regrets. The truth about worry: most of it never happens. Here's the liberating truth. Studies suggest that a significant percentage of what we worry about never actually occurs. Research by psychologist Robert L. Leahy found that approximately 85% of what people worry about never happens. And of the 15% that does materialize, people often find they can handle it better than they imagined. Think back to a time when you were consumed by worry. How many of those feared outcomes actually came to pass? And of those that did, how many were as bad as you'd anticipated? Chances are the reality was less devastating than your mind's projections. Why our minds deceive us. If most of what we worry about never happens, why does our mind insist on creating these scenarios? Several factors contribute to this mental pattern. 1. Negativity, bias. Our brains have evolved with a negativity bias, meaning we're more attuned to threats and negative stimuli. This bias helped our ancestors survive in dangerous environments, but can lead to excessive worry in modern life. We're more likely to fixate on negative possibilities than to consider positive or neutral outcomes. 2. The power of imagination. Human imagination is a double-edged sword. While it enables creativity and problem-solving, it also allows us to craft elaborate narratives of disaster. Our brains often treat these imagined scenarios as if they were real, triggering emotional and physiological stress responses. 3. The need for control worry can stem from a subconscious attempt to exert control over the future. By imagining potential problems, we create a false sense of preparedness. But this is an illusion. Worry doesn't actually prevent negative outcomes. It just drains our energy. Learned behavior. Many of us learn to worry from our families or cultures. If we grew up in an environment where worry was a common way to cope with uncertainty, we might adopt the habit without questioning its usefulness. How to break free from unnecessary worry. Understanding that most of what we worry about never happens is just the beginning. The real transformation comes from applying practical strategies to break the cycle of worry and cultivate a more balanced relationship with the future. First question, your worries. When a worry arises, pause and examine it with curiosity rather than fear. Ask yourself, is this worry based on facts or assumptions? What evidence do I have that this will happen? What evidence do I have that it won't happen? Is this worry within my control? How would I handle this situation if it did occur? By systematically questioning your worries, you can begin to separate reality from imagination. Often, this simple act can dissolve the power of the worry. 2. Practice. Mindfulness. Mindfulness meditation is one of the most effective tools for working with worry. By training your mind to stay present, you can interrupt the cycle of anxious thoughts. Try the following mindfulness exercise. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Focus on your breath, noticing the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils. When your mind wanders to a worry, gently acknowledge it without judgment and return your attention to your breath. Continue this practice for 10 to 15 minutes daily. Over time, mindfulness helps rewire the brain, reducing the frequency and intensity of worry. 3. Ground yourself in the present. When worry pulls you into the future, bring yourself back to the present moment using your senses. Try the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Name 5 things you can see around you. Name 4 things you can feel, e.g., your feet on the ground, the fabric of your clothing. Name 3 things you can hear. Name 2 things you can smell. Name 1 thing you can taste. This technique anchors you in the here and now, breaking the grip of worry. 4th challenge, cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions are irrational thought patterns that fuel worry. Common distortions include catastrophizing, black and white thinking, and mind reading, assuming you know what others are thinking. When you notice these patterns, challenge them by asking, am I falling into a cognitive distortion? What's another way to look at this situation? What would I say to a friend who had this worry? Create a worry window. Designate a specific time each day, e.g. 30 minutes in the evening, as your worry window. During this time, allow yourself to worry freely. Outside of this window, when a worry arises, note it briefly and tell yourself you'll revisit it during your designated time. Often, by postponing worry, you'll find that many concerns lose their urgency. 6. Cultivate gratitude and positivity. Worry thrives in a mental landscape focused on lack and fear. Counteract this by cultivating gratitude and positivity. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for and 3 positive experiences you had. This practice trains your brain to notice what's going well, creating a more balanced perspective. 7. Take action. When appropriate, sometimes worry signals a genuine need for action. If your worry is about something within your control, e.g. preparing for a presentation, take practical steps to address it. By doing so, you transform worry into productive energy. But remember to release attachment to the outcome once you've done your part. 8. Practice self-compassion. Worry often stems from self-criticism. I'm not good enough, I'll fail, or I'll embarrass myself. Respond to these thoughts with kindness. Imagine how you'd support a friend in the same situation and offer yourself the same compassion. 9. Limit exposure to anxiety triggers. Identify situations or stimuli that trigger worry, e.g., news consumption, social media, certain conversations, and set healthy boundaries. It's not about avoiding all discomfort, but about protecting your mental space from unnecessary agitation. 10. Seek professional support. If worry feels overwhelming or interferes significantly with your life, consider working with a therapist. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT in particular, has been shown to be highly effective for anxiety-related concerns. The ripple effect of releasing worry. As you begin to release unnecessary worry, you'll likely notice positive changes in several areas of your life. 1. Improved mental clarity. When worry isn't clouding your mind, you can think more clearly and make better decisions. You'll find it easier to focus on what's important and to respond to challenges with creativity and wisdom. 2. Enhanced emotional well-being. Letting go of worry creates space for positive emotions like joy, contentment, and peace. You'll become more resilient, better able to bounce back from setbacks without getting mired in anxiety. 3. Deeper relationships. When you're not preoccupied with worry, you can show up more fully in your relationships. You'll listen with greater attention, offer more empathy, and foster deeper connections with others. 4. Greater energy and vitality. The energy once drained by worry becomes available for the things you care about, hobbies, goals, loved ones. You'll feel more motivated and capable of pursuing a meaningful life. 5. Improved physical health. As your stress levels decrease, your body can recover and heal. You may notice better sleep, a stronger immune system, and reduced symptoms of stress-related conditions. The paradox of worry. There's a fascinating paradox at the heart of worry, the very thing we think keeps us safe. Our anxious preoccupation with potential threats actually undermines our well-being. By releasing worry, we don't become more vulnerable. We become stronger, clearer, and more capable of handling whatever life brings. This isn't about dismissing legitimate concerns or ignoring real problems. It's about developing discernment, learning to distinguish between productive worry, which leads to action, and unproductive worry, which leads to suffering. It's about trusting that you have within you the strength and wisdom to face challenges as they arise, rather than preemptively suffering through imagined scenarios. Conclusion: embracing uncertainty with courage. The Buddhist teaching that Most of what you worry about never happens isn't meant to minimize the challenges of life. It's an invitation to approach uncertainty with courage and wisdom rather than fear and resistance. By understanding the nature of worry, questioning its validity, and practicing mindfulness and self-compassion, we can free ourselves from the burden of unnecessary anxiety. Uncertainty is an inherent part of life, a fact that can feel daunting, but that also holds profound beauty. When we release our futile attempts to control the future and instead embrace each moment as it unfolds, we open ourselves to possibilities we could never have imagined while trapped in worry. As you continue to explore this teaching, remember that freedom from worry isn't about achieving a permanent state of worry-free existence. It's about developing the tools to recognize worry when it arises, to question its validity, and to return to the present moment with kindness and clarity. In doing so, you create space for a life filled with peace, possibility, and the quiet joy of simply being here now, exactly where you are, exactly as you are. Lesson 5. You cannot be in control and have faith at the same time. In a world that constantly demands control, the idea of letting go and having faith can seem counterintuitive, even risky. We're taught to believe that control is the key to success, security, and happiness. We micromanage our schedules, cling to expectations, and try to force outcomes in every area of our lives. Yet, this relentless pursuit of control often leaves us feeling anxious, exhausted, and disconnected from the natural flow of life. Buddhism offers a powerful insight. Control and faith are mutually exclusive. When we release our need to control, we create space for faith to flourish, a faith that allows us to navigate life with greater ease, trust, and joy. The illusion of control. The desire for control stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of how life works. We believe that by carefully planning and managing every detail, we can avoid pain, ensure happiness, and guarantee desired outcomes. This belief is reinforced by societal messages that equate control with competence and success. But the reality is, much of life is beyond our control. The actions of others, natural disasters, economic shifts, and even our own thoughts and emotions at times. The more we resist this truth, the more we suffer. This illusion of control is like trying to hold water in a clenched fist. It slips through our fingers, leaving us empty-handed. The harder we try to force life into our predetermined molds, the more we disrupt its natural rhythm and create resistance. Control becomes a prison, trapping us in a cycle of fear, anxiety, and frustration. The nature of faith. Faith, as understood in Buddhist teachings, is not about blind belief or resignation. It is a deep trust in the inherent wisdom and interconnectedness of life. Faith recognizes that while we cannot control everything, we can trust in the natural unfolding of events and in our ability to respond with grace and resilience. It is the confidence that even in uncertainty, life will provide what we need, not necessarily what we want. Faith is not passive. It is active and engaged. It involves doing our part, taking wise and compassionate action, while releasing attachment to specific outcomes. It is about planting seeds and tending to them without obsessively checking for growth. Faith acknowledges that life has its own timing and intelligence, and that our role is to align with this greater wisdom rather than fighting against it. The dynamic tension between control and faith. The conflict between control and faith is a central theme in the human experience. It manifests in countless ways. 1. Control as a response to fear. At its core, the need for control arises from fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of losing what we value. We try to exert control as a way to create safety and predictability. But this fear-based control often backfires. For example, Micromanaging a relationship out of fear of abandonment can push a partner away, while excessive control at work can stifle creativity and collaboration. 2. Faith as a response to trust. Faith emerges from a place of trust, not in the external circumstances, which are inherently unreliable, but in the deeper truth of our interconnectedness and the natural flow of life. When we have faith, we recognize that we are not separate from the world, but an integral part of it. This recognition fosters a sense of belonging and security that transcends external conditions. The benefits of releasing control. Letting go of control is not about becoming passive or indifferent. It is about freeing ourselves from the burden of unnecessary worry and anxiety. When we release our need to control, we experience greater peace. When we stop fighting against life's natural flow, we create space for inner calm and clarity. Build resilience. Faith in our ability to handle whatever comes our way increases our capacity to navigate challenges with grace. Enhance creativity. Letting go of rigid plans allows for spontaneous insights and innovative solutions that might otherwise be overlooked. Deepen relationships. When we release control, we can show up more authentically in our relationships, fostering deeper connections and trust. Find joy in the present moment. Control keeps us fixated on the future, while faith invites us to embrace the present moment with all its richness. Practical steps to cultivate faith and release. Control, transitioning from a mindset of control to one of faith, is a gradual process that requires practice and patience. Here are some practical steps to help you along the way. 1. Acknowledge your fear. The first step in releasing control is to acknowledge the fear that underlies it. Instead of denying or suppressing your fear, allow yourself to feel it without judgment. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What am I trying to control, and why? This self-awareness is the foundation for change. 2. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating faith and releasing control. By focusing on the present moment, you can interrupt the cycle of fear and worry that drives the need for control. Try the following exercise. Sit comfortably with your spine straight and your eyes closed. Bring your attention to your breath, noticing the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils. When your mind wanders to thoughts of control or fear, gently acknowledge them and return your focus to your breath. Practice this for 10 to 15 minutes daily, gradually increasing the duration as you become more comfortable. 3. Reframe your narrative. The stories we tell ourselves about control and faith shape our reality. If you catch yourself thinking, I have to control everything or it will go wrong, try reframing it to, I can take wise action and trust that life will unfold as it should. This small shift in language can have a profound impact on your mindset. Practice letting go. Daily. Incorporate small acts of letting go into your daily life. This could be as simple as allowing someone else to choose a restaurant for dinner, taking a different route to work, or letting go of rigid expectations for how your day should unfold. Each act of letting go reinforces your faith in life's unpredictability. 5. Embrace impermanence. Buddhism teaches that all things are impermanent. Nothing lasts forever. This includes our need for control and the circumstances we try to control. Reflect on how impermanence is a natural part of life and how it creates space for growth and change. Embracing impermanence can help reduce your attachment to specific outcomes. 6. Build a contingency mindset. Rather than trying to prevent all negative outcomes, prepare for potential challenges without becoming consumed by them. This balanced approach allows you to take reasonable precautions while releasing the illusion that you can control everything. For example, instead of worrying incessantly about job loss, update your resume and explore additional income streams while trusting in your ability to adapt if needed. 7. Connect with something larger than yourself. Faith often grows when we recognize our interconnectedness with others and the world. Spend time in nature, engage in acts of service, or participate in a community that aligns with your values. These experiences can help shift your perspective from one of isolation to one of belonging, fostering trust in the greater web of life. 8. Reflect on past challenges. Think back to times when you felt out of control but still managed to navigate the situation. Remind yourself of your resilience and adaptability. This reflection can build confidence in your ability to handle future uncertainties without micromanaging every detail. 9. Experiment with surrender. Choose a specific area of your life where you tend to over-control and practice surrendering in that area for a set period. For example, if you struggle with controlling conversations, commit to listening more and speaking less for a week. Observe how this shift affects your interactions and stress levels. 10. Seek support. Sharing your journey with trusted friends, family members, or a spiritual community can provide encouragement and accountability. Sometimes releasing control is easier when we have others to remind us of our commitment to faith. The science of letting go. Modern science supports the benefits of releasing control and cultivating faith. Research in the field of psychology has shown that practicing acceptance and mindfulness can reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression while improving overall well-being. Studies on the brain have revealed that regular mindfulness meditation increases activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for rational thinking and emotional regulation, while decreasing activity in the amygdala, the fear center of the brain. Moreover, the concept of psychological flexibility, coined by acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, emphasizes the importance of adapting to life circumstances rather than rigidly controlling them. This flexibility is associated with greater resilience, life satisfaction, and mental health. Overcoming barriers to faith. While cultivating faith is a rewarding journey, it's not without its challenges. Here are some common barriers and how to work with them. 1. The fear of vulnerability. Releasing control requires vulnerability, which can feel uncomfortable or even threatening. Remind yourself that vulnerability is not weakness, but a sign of courage. It allows for deeper connections and more authentic experiences of life. 2. The need for certainty. Our minds crave certainty, but life inherently offers none. Instead of resisting uncertainty, practice embracing it as an opportunity for growth and adventure. Ask yourself, how might uncertainty enrich my life? 3. Past traumas. If you've experienced significant losses or traumas, releasing control might trigger fears of being overwhelmed. In such cases, proceed gently and consider working with a therapist who can provide support and guidance. 4. Societal pressures. Societal messages often equate control with success. Counteract this by surrounding yourself with people who value trust, adaptability, and presence. Their influence can help normalize the practice of faith. The ripple effect of faith. As you cultivate faith and release control, you'll likely notice positive changes in several areas of your life. Improved relationships. Letting go of control allows for more authentic connections as you become less defensive and more open. Enhanced creativity. Faith in the process frees your mind to explore new ideas without the constraint of rigid expectations. Greater resilience. Trusting in your ability to adapt builds confidence and helps you bounce back from setbacks. Deeper spiritual connection. Faith invites you into a more intimate relationship with the mysteries of life, fostering a sense of awe and belonging. The paradox of control and faith. There's a beautiful paradox in the relationship between control and faith. By releasing our need for control, we actually gain more influence over our lives. When we stop fighting against life's natural flow, we become more adaptable, creative, and present, qualities that enable us to navigate challenges more effectively. It's not that we gain control over external circumstances, but that we gain mastery over our inner response to them. Conclusion: stepping into trust. The journey from control to faith is a transformative one. It's about releasing the illusion that we can micromanage life and embracing the wisdom of trust and adaptability. By acknowledging your fears, practicing mindfulness, and taking small steps to let go, you can gradually build faith in your ability to navigate life's uncertainties with grace. This shift doesn't happen overnight, and there will be moments when fear resurfaces. But with patience and self-compassion, you can learn to recognize these moments as opportunities for growth rather than setbacks. Each act of faith, no matter how small, strengthens your connection to the present moment and to the inherent wisdom of life. As you continue to explore this teaching, remember that you are not alone. Many before you have walked this path and found liberation in letting go. Their wisdom and your own growing awareness are here to guide you. So take a deep breath, release your grip just a little, and step into the unknown with trust in your capacity to find your way. In doing so, you'll discover a freedom and peace that control could never provide. Lesson 6. Worry shrinks you. Letting go frees you. Worry is often seen as a minor inconvenience, a natural part of life that we must simply endure. But Buddhism reveals a deeper truth. Worry is a powerful force that can gradually shrink our lives, limiting our potential, stifling our joy, and constraining our sense of self. Conversely, the act of letting go, releasing the mental and emotional grip of worry, has the power to expand our lives in ways we might never have imagined. This lesson explores how worry imprisons us and how liberation from worry can lead to a fuller, more vibrant existence. The shrinking effect of worry. Worry works subtly to constrict our lives, often without us even noticing. It begins as a small thought, a seed of doubt or fear, and with repetition and belief, it grows into a mental and emotional habit that shapes our decisions, actions, and perceptions. 1. Worry limits your dreams. When worry becomes a constant companion, it erodes your confidence and willingness to pursue ambitious goals. The fear of failure or rejection can make you settle for less than you deserve. You might avoid applying for your dream job, starting a business, or pursuing a creative passion because worry whispers, "What if you fail?" Over time, this self-doubt becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, as you never take the risks necessary to achieve your dreams. 2. Worry damages relationships. Worry can create distance and tension in relationships. Fear of abandonment may lead to clinginess or neediness, pushing others away. Fear of conflict might cause you to suppress your true feelings, leading to resentment and disconnection. Worry makes you hypervigilant to potential threats, interpreting neutral actions as signs of rejection or disapproval. This distorted perception undermines trust and intimacy. 3. Worry stifles creativity. Creativity thrives in an environment of openness and freedom. Worry, with its focus on avoiding negative outcomes, creates a mental atmosphere of restriction and fear. You become less willing to experiment, take creative risks, or express yourself authentically. The fear of judgment or criticism silences your creative voice, leaving you stuck in a cycle of self-censorship. 4. Worry erodes peace and joy. Perhaps the most immediate and pervasive effect of worry is its ability to erode peace and joy. Worry creates a constant undercurrent of unease, making it difficult to fully appreciate the present moment. You become disconnected from the simple pleasures of life, the beauty of nature, the warmth of connections, the satisfaction of meaningful work. Instead, your mind is preoccupied with what-ifs, leaving you perpetually tense and dissatisfied. The nature of worry as a prison worry is a self-created prison. It's constructed from the bricks of fear and the mortar of repetitive thinking. This prison isn't imposed by external circumstances, but built by our own mental habits. The prison of worry has several defining characteristics. 1. Its self-perpetuating worry creates a feedback loop. The more you worry, the more you strengthen the neural pathways associated with anxiety, making it easier for worry to arise in the future. Each cycle of worry reinforces the habit, deepening its hold on your mind and emotions. 2. It's grounded in illusion. As discussed in previous lessons, much of what we worry about never happens. The prison of worry is built on illusions, stories crafted by the mind that have little basis in reality. Yet we treat these stories as concrete truths, allowing them to dictate our thoughts and actions. 3. It creates a false sense of identity. When worry becomes chronic, it can shape your identity. You might come to see yourself as an anxious person, someone who is inherently vulnerable or inadequate. This false identity imprisons you in a limited self-concept, preventing you from experiencing your full potential. The liberating power of letting go. Just as worry has the power to shrink us, letting go has the power to free us. Letting go doesn't mean becoming careless or indifferent. It means releasing the mental and emotional attachment to worry and the need to control outcomes. It means trusting that you can handle whatever comes your way and that life is not something to be feared, but embraced. 1. Letting go expands your potential. When you release worry, you free up mental and emotional energy that can be directed toward growth and creativity. You become more willing to take risks, pursue your passions, and step outside your comfort zone. Letting go removes the self-imposed limitations that worry creates, allowing you to discover new strengths and possibilities. 2. Letting go deepens relationships. Without the weight of worry, you can show up more authentically in your relationships. You can listen with greater openness, communicate with more honesty, and trust with more ease. Letting go creates space for deeper connections and more meaningful experiences with others. 3. Letting go restores peace and joy. Perhaps the most immediate benefit of letting go is the restoration of peace and joy. When you release worry, you return to the present moment where peace resides. You become more attuned to the beauty and goodness in your life, cultivating a sense of gratitude and contentment that worry had previously obscured. Practical steps to letting go. Letting go is not a passive process, but an active practice that requires commitment and patience. Here are some practical steps to help you release worry and experience the freedom that follows. 1. Acknowledge your worry. The first step in letting go is to acknowledge your worry without judgment. Often, we try to suppress or deny our worries, which only strengthens their hold on us. Instead, allow yourself to feel the worry and recognize its presence. You might say to yourself, "I'm feeling worried about X right now." This simple act of acknowledgement can create space between you and the worry, reducing its power over you. 2. Investigate the source. Once you've acknowledged the worry, take time to investigate its source. Ask yourself, what specific fear is driving this worry? Is this fear based on a real, immediate threat, or is it a product of my imagination? What evidence do I have to support this fear? What evidence do I have to contradict it? This investigation helps you gain clarity about the nature of your worry and its validity. 3. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness meditation is a powerful tool for letting go of worry. By training your mind to stay present, you can interrupt the cycle of anxious thoughts. Try the following mindfulness exercise. Sit comfortably with your spine straight and your eyes closed. Focus on your breath, noticing the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils. When your mind wanders to a worry, gently acknowledge it without judgment, and return your attention to your breath. Continue this practice for 10 to 15 minutes daily. Over time, mindfulness helps rewire your brain, reducing the frequency and intensity of worry. Fourth, challenge cognitive distortions. Worry often involves cognitive distortions, irrational thought patterns that amplify fear. Common distortions include catastrophizing, black and white thinking, and mind reading. When you notice these patterns, challenge them by asking, "Am I falling into a cognitive distortion? What's another way to look at this situation? What would I say to a friend who had this worry?" 5. Release the need for certainty. Much of worry stems from a desire for certainty and control. Practice accepting uncertainty by reminding yourself that life is inherently unpredictable and that this uncertainty creates space for both good and bad outcomes. You might repeat affirmations like, "I can handle whatever comes my way," or "Uncertainty is a natural part of life." 6. Visualize letting go. Visualization can be a powerful tool for releasing worry. Imagine yourself holding your worries in your hands, then gently placing them into a river or stream and watching them float away. Alternatively, visualize yourself releasing worry into a balloon that floats up into the sky, becoming smaller and smaller until it disappears. 7. Engage in grounding practices. When worry feels overwhelming, use grounding techniques to reconnect with the present moment. The 5-4-3-2-1 technique is particularly effective. Name 5 things you can see around you. Name 4 things you can feel, e.g., your feet on the ground, the fabric of your clothing. Name 3 things you can hear. Name 2 things you can smell. Name 1 thing you can taste. This exercise anchors you in the present, breaking the grip of worry. 8. Take wise action. If your worry is about something within your control, take practical steps to address it. For example, if you're worried about finances, create a budget or consult a financial advisor. Taking wise action transforms worry into productive energy while reducing its emotional impact. 9. Cultivate self-compassion. Worry often stems from self-criticism. Respond to your worries with kindness and compassion. Imagine how you'd support a friend in the same situation and offer yourself the same empathy. You might say to yourself, "It's okay to feel worried. I'm doing my best, and that's enough." 10. Connect with nature. Nature has a profound ability to soothe the mind and restore perspective. Spend time outdoors, take a walk in a park, sit by a lake, or simply feel the sun on your face. Nature reminds us of our interconnectedness and the natural rhythm of life, fostering a sense of trust and belonging. The ripple effect of letting go. As you practice letting go of worry, you'll likely notice positive changes in several areas of your life. 1. Enhanced resilience. Letting go strengthens your ability to bounce back from setbacks. You develop a mental and emotional flexibility that allows you to adapt to change without becoming overwhelmed. 2. Improved physical health. Reduced worry leads to lower stress levels, which can improve sleep, boost your immune system, and decrease symptoms of stress-related conditions like headaches and digestive issues. 3. Deeper relationships. When you're not consumed by worry, you can show up more fully in your relationships. You become a better listener, a more empathetic friend, and a more engaged partner or family member. Increased creativity. Free from the mental clutter of worry, your mind becomes more open to new ideas and creative solutions. You might find yourself exploring hobbies, artistic pursuits, or innovative approaches to problems that you previously avoided. 5. greater joy and satisfaction. Letting go creates space for joy to enter your life. You become more attuned to the present moment and more grateful for the good things in your life, fostering a deeper sense of contentment. The paradox of letting go. There's a beautiful paradox in the practice of letting go. When we release our need to control and worry about outcomes, we often find that we gain more than we could have achieved through control alone. By letting go, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life, creating space for unexpected opportunities and serendipitous moments that worry would have blocked. Overcoming barriers to letting go. While the benefits of letting go are clear, the practice itself can be challenging. Here are some common barriers and how to work with them. 1. The illusion of safety in worry. Many people believe that worry prepares them for the worst or keeps them safe, but worry doesn't actually prevent negative outcomes. It just drains your energy. Remind yourself that letting go doesn't mean becoming reckless, but trusting in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. 2. The fear of the unknown. Letting go requires embracing uncertainty, which can feel frightening. But uncertainty is an inherent part of life and creates space for growth and adventure. Practice viewing uncertainty as an opportunity rather than a threat. 3. The habit of worry. Worry can become a deeply ingrained habit. Breaking this habit requires patience and consistent practice. Celebrate small victories and be kind to yourself when setbacks occur. 4th, societal pressures. Society often values control and achievement, equating worry with responsibility. Surround yourself with people who value peace, presence, and trust. Their influence can help normalize the practice of letting go. Conclusion: embracing freedom. The journey from worry to freedom is a transformative one. It's about releasing the mental and emotional chains that bind you, allowing you to step into a fuller, more vibrant life. By acknowledging your worries, investigating their sources, and practicing mindfulness and self-compassion, you can gradually let go of the habits that shrink your life and embrace the freedom that awaits. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring life's challenges or denying difficult emotions. It means approaching these challenges with courage, resilience, and trust. It means recognizing that you are stronger and more capable than your worries suggest. As you continue to explore this teaching, remember that you are not alone. The path of letting go has been walked by countless others who have found liberation from worry's grip. Their wisdom and your own growing awareness are here to guide you. So take a deep breath, release your worries just a little more, and step into the expansive freedom that is your birthright. Lesson 7. Life starts working when you stop interfering. In our well-intentioned efforts to manage life, we often become obstacles to our own progress. We overthink decisions, micromanage situations, and force solutions, believing that our constant intervention is necessary for success. Yet, Buddhism teaches a profound truth. Life has its own wisdom, its own rhythm, and its own way of unfolding. When we stop interfering and trust this natural process, things often work out better than they would with our relentless meddling. This lesson explores how our need to control can block the flow of life and how stepping back can open the door to unexpected opportunities and solutions. The illusion of control. Our desire to control arises from the belief that we can orchestrate life's events to our advantage. We meticulously plan every detail, believing that if we just try hard enough, we can prevent failure and ensure happiness. But life rarely cooperates with our rigid blueprints. The more we try to force things to go our way, the more we create resistance and tension. This resistance can manifest in various ways. 1. Overthinking. We become trapped in analysis paralysis, unable to make decisions because we're trying to anticipate every possible outcome. This mental gridlock prevents us from taking action and moving forward. 2. Micromanaging. In relationships and work, we try to control every aspect of how things are done. This can stifle creativity in others and create resentment as people feel their autonomy is being undermined. 3. Forcing solutions. We impose our ideas of how problems should be solved, ignoring the input of others or the natural course of events. This can lead to solutions that are more about satisfying our need for control than addressing the actual issue. Clinging to expectations. We become so attached to our expectations that we reject any deviation from them, even when those deviations might lead to better outcomes. This rigidity can cause us to miss out on opportunities that don't fit our preconceived notions. The natural wisdom of life Buddhism recognizes that life has an inherent intelligence, an intelligence that emerges when we step aside and allow things to unfold. This isn't about being passive, but about understanding that we're part of a larger system where multiple factors interact in ways we can't fully comprehend. Consider these examples. 1. The ecosystem of a forest. A forest thrives through a complex web of interactions between plants, animals, and microorganisms. No single entity is in control. Instead, the system self-regulates. When we interfere excessively with nature, we often disrupt this balance. 2. The human body. Our bodies heal themselves through complex physiological processes that we don't consciously control. While we can support this healing through proper care, the body's wisdom does the heavy lifting. 3. Creative inspiration. Many artists and innovators describe how their best work comes when they're in a state of flow, a state where they're not forcing ideas but allowing them to emerge organically. How interference blocks progress. Our constant interference can be likened to throwing obstacles into a stream. The water can't flow freely. It becomes turbulent and blocked. Similarly, when we over-control, we block the natural flow of life. Here's how. 1. We create resistance. The universe has its own timing and path for events. When we try to force things to happen faster or differently, we create resistance that can delay or prevent the outcomes we desire. 2. We limit possibilities. Our interventions are based on our limited perspective. By stepping back, we allow other perspectives and solutions to emerge, ones that we might never have considered. 3. We undermine trust. Excessive interference in relationships can erode trust, as others feel we don't have confidence in their abilities or judgment. Similarly, interfering in our own lives can undermine our trust in our capacity to handle challenges. The benefits of non-interference. When we stop interfering, we create space for life's natural wisdom to emerge. This can lead to 1. Greater ease and flow. Life becomes less of a struggle. Things seem to fall into place with less effort on our part. 2. Unexpected solutions. Problems that once seemed intractable resolve themselves in creative ways we couldn't have imagined. 3. Deeper trust and faith. We develop a deeper trust in ourselves and in the process of life, reducing anxiety and increasing peace of mind. 4. Enhanced relationships. We allow others the space to be themselves, fostering deeper connections and collaboration. Practical steps to stop interfering. Letting go of the need to interfere is a practice that requires patience and commitment. Here are some practical steps to help you along the way. 1. Cultivate awareness. The first step is to become aware of your tendency to interfere. Notice when you're overthinking, micromanaging, or forcing solutions. This awareness is the foundation for change. 2. Ask yourself key questions. When faced with a situation, ask, is my intervention truly necessary? Could there be value in allowing this to unfold without my input? Am I acting from a place of trust or fear? 3. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness meditation helps you stay present and reduces the anxiety that drives interference. By focusing on your breath and observing your thoughts without judgment, you create space between stimulus and response. 4th, set intentions, not outcomes. Focus on what you can control, your actions and attitudes, rather than trying to dictate specific outcomes. This allows you to contribute positively without becoming attached to results. 5. Trust the process. Develop a mantra or affirmation that reinforces your trust in life's natural flow. Something as simple as "I trust the process" can be a powerful reminder when the urge to interfere arises. 6th, experiment with letting go. Choose a specific area of your life where you tend to over-control and practice letting go for a set period. Observe what happens. This experiment can provide concrete evidence of the benefits of non-interference. 7. Learn from nature. Spend time in nature and observe how ecosystems thrive without micromanagement. Let the wisdom of nature inspire your approach to life. 8. Practice active listening. In relationships, practice listening more and advising less. Allow others the space to express themselves and find their own solutions. 9. Embrace imperfection. Recognize that perfection is unattainable and that mistakes are part of life's natural learning process. Release your attachment to flawless outcomes. 10. Seek support. Share your commitment to reducing interference with trusted friends or mentors. Their feedback and encouragement can help you stay on track. The science of letting go. Modern science supports the idea that non-interference can lead to better outcomes. Research in complex systems shows that overly controlled systems are less adaptable and more prone to collapse. In contrast, systems that allow for some degree of unpredictability and self-organization are more resilient. Similarly, psychological studies have found that individuals who practice acceptance and trust tend to have lower stress levels and greater overall well-being. Overcoming barriers to non-interference. Several barriers can make it difficult to stop interfering. Here's how to work with them. 1. Fear of losing control. Acknowledge that the need to interfere often stems from fear. Reassure yourself that letting go doesn't mean abandoning responsibility, but approaching it with greater wisdom and trust. 2. The illusion of competence. Recognize that excessive control doesn't make you more competent. In fact, it can limit your effectiveness by blocking creative solutions and collaborative opportunities. 3. Societal pressures. Society often equates control with leadership and success. Counteract this by surrounding yourself with people who value adaptability, trust, and collaboration. 4. Past traumas. If you've experienced significant setbacks, you might cling to control as a way to prevent future hurts. Work with a therapist to address these fears and develop healthier coping strategies. The ripple effect of non-interference. When you practice non-interference, the benefits extend beyond your individual experience. 1. Enhanced creativity. Non-interference creates space for new ideas and perspectives to emerge, benefiting not just you, but your community and work. 2. Stronger communities. Trust and collaboration flourish when we stop trying to control others, leading to more cohesive and supportive communities. 3. Environmental stewardship. Recognizing our place within larger systems can inspire more sustainable and harmonious approaches to environmental challenges. 4. Leadership. That empowers leaders who practice non-interference, empower their teams, fostering innovation and reducing burnout. Conclusion. Trusting the dance of life. The journey from interference to trust is a journey of transformation. It's about releasing the illusion that we must control life to thrive and embracing the wisdom of allowing things to unfold. By practicing mindfulness, setting intentions, and cultivating trust, we create space for life's natural rhythm to emerge, a rhythm that is often wiser and more graceful than anything we could force into being. Non-interference doesn't mean passivity, it means participating in life with humility and wisdom. It means dancing with life rather than trying to dictate its steps. As you continue to explore this teaching, remember that you're joining a timeless wisdom that recognizes our interconnectedness and the beauty of life's natural flow. So, take a deep breath, release your grip just a little more, and watch as life begins to work in ways you never could have imagined. The dance of life is waiting for you, ready to sweep you into its current and carry you toward a future filled with unexpected grace and possibility. Final thoughts. Embracing a life of wisdom and freedom. As we conclude this journey through the profound Buddhist teachings on worry, control, and the art of living freely, let us take a moment to reflect on the transformative wisdom we've explored. These lessons invite us to release the burdens that weigh us down, to let go of the fear that shrinks our lives, the need to control that blocks our progress, and the mental habits that keep us from experiencing the peace and joy that are our birthright. Remember that worry is a prison we build for ourselves brick by brick through our thoughts and fears. But the key to freedom lies within you. By acknowledging your worries, investigating their sources, and practicing mindfulness and self-compassion, you can gradually dismantle this prison and step into a life of greater freedom and possibility. The journey from control to faith, from interference to trust, is not always easy. It requires patience, practice, and a willingness to embrace uncertainty. But with each small step you take, each moment of mindfulness, each act of surrender, you're aligning yourself with the natural wisdom of life. You're opening yourself to a world where peace is not found in controlling the storm, but in resting within it. These teachings are not just ideas to be understood, they are practices to be lived. They invite you to engage with life in new ways, to approach each moment with curiosity, trust, and openness. As you continue on this path, remember that you are not alone. Countless others have walked before you, and their wisdom and compassion are here to support you. May these teachings serve as a compass, guiding you toward a life of greater freedom, joy, and connection. May you find the courage to let go, the wisdom to trust, and the peace that comes from surrendering to the natural flow of life. If you found value in these teachings and feel they might benefit others on their journey, we invite you to share them widely. Let this wisdom ripple outward, touching the lives of those around you. And if you wish to continue exploring the profound teachings of the Buddha, we warmly welcome you to subscribe to our channel. Together, we can deepen our understanding and walk this path of awakening with courage and grace.